Have you ever felt stuck, not knowing what to say or how to connect? This 10-episode journey follows one man's raw and twist-filled transformation from silence and fear to genuine connection, showing you how to mostly never run out of things to say. Episode 1, The Date That Broke Him. He didn't just lose words. He lost himself. A dimly lit restaurant Friday night. The lighting was warm. Strings of Edison bulbs cast a soft, amber glow over the tables. The clink of silverware and quiet laughter filled the room like a well-rehearsed soundtrack. To everyone else, it was the perfect evening. But to Arman, it was a pressure cooker. He sat across from Maya, kind eyes, quiet smile, the sort of presence that made you want to exhale. She stirred her tea gently, then looked up. So, what's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet? It was a soft question. Curious. Playful, even. But to Arman, it felt like a trap. His mind scanned 1,000 answers. Travel, write a book, learn Italian. No, too cliché. He had rehearsed stories for dates like this, clever lines, quirky anecdotes. But now, under her gaze, every pre-scripted line dissolved into static. He gave a nervous chuckle. I guess. I don't know. That's a good question. Silence. Maya nodded, encouraging. Waiting. His mind screamed for help. But nothing came. Instead, his chest tightened. His palms softened. And then came that awful, sinking moment, the one he feared more than anything. The silence between them stretched too long. Maya looked down, then away. She smiled politely, took a sip of her drink, and checked her phone. And just like that, the connection broke. She didn't seem angry. Or bored. Just, elsewhere. Like a commercial break had interrupted a show she was watching and he was the commercial. Arman tried to recover. Asked her about work. She answered kindly, but the rhythm was gone. His sentences came out clipped. Her responses, shorter. It wasn't awkward silence, it was a silent goodbye, unfolding in real time. Later that night, alone in his apartment. He stared at himself in the bathroom mirror. The light above flickered. He looked like someone else, pale, tired, worn out by a conversation that never really happened. He mouthed the words, "What is wrong with me?" And in that moment, something inside him collapsed. Not just his confidence, something deeper. The part of him that believed he could be seen if only he tried hard enough. From that night forward, Arman wasn't just afraid of running out of things to say. He believed there was nothing worth saying inside him at all. Episode 2, The Curse of the Mirror Brain. Every sentence was a performance. Every silence was punishment. Arman's apartment, midnight. Arman sat hunched over his laptop, blue light casting shadows across his face. Tabs filled the screen. How to be witty in conversations. 10 tricks to be more charismatic. Never run out of things to say, confidence hacks. He was no longer trying to connect. He was trying to survive. Notebook open, he scribbled bullet points with manic urgency. Compliment, but not too early. Mirror their energy. Use the word because it makes you sound smarter. Ask open-ended questions, but not weird ones. He rehearsed lines like an actor. Paused. Repeated. Rewrote. He wasn't preparing for war. He was preparing to matter. Office kitchen next day. Morning, Arman said with a grin, handing a coffee to a co-worker, "Tanya." "Thanks," she smiled. "You always know how to brighten the vibe." He said something funny. She laughed. So did the guy next to her. Success, he thought. Nailed it? But as they left, he heard something. Tanya whispered, not cruel, just curious, is it just me, or does he kind of sound like he's doing a podcast all the time? The words slid like ice down his spine. Team meeting afternoon. He watched the screen as his colleague, Omar, shared a meeting recording for review. And then, he heard himself. His own voice echoed through the room, cheerful, overly articulate, too many rising inflections. He sounded confident. But not like him. He sounded like someone trying to be liked. A motivational speaker trapped in a PowerPoint. He looked around the room. No one reacted. But Arman felt naked. Exposed. Arman's apartment, nightfall. He closed the laptop. Opened YouTube. His charisma playlists stared back. One by one, he deleted them. Click. Delete. Click. Delete. A video of Charlie Haupert began auto-playing, talking about the importance of confidence hacks. Arman stared. Then, with a tight breath, hit remove from watch history. Then he did something he hadn't done in weeks, he turned off every screen. Sat in silence. Let it burn. His body felt jittery without input, without a script to hide behind. His mind raced. Who am I without these tricks? What if I go blank again? What if I disappear? He gripped the edge of the desk. The silence was not peaceful. It was raw. And for the first time, he let it stay. The silence didn't kill him. But it didn't comfort him either. It just was. And that terrified him. Episode 3, The Man Who Spoke Without Speaking. He noticed the room, leaned in, and he hadn't said a word yet. Quiet corner of a coffee shop, late afternoon. Rain tapped gently against the windows. The cafe was half full, enough to feel alive, but not crowded. Arman sat alone, nursing a lukewarm cappuccino. He wasn't scrolling his phone. Just existing. A little hollow. A little worn. He had promised himself, no videos today. No charisma hacks. No scripts. He didn't know who he was without them. But maybe this was how he'd find out. That's when he noticed him. An older man, late 60s, maybe 70s, sat 2 tables away. He wore a worn gray cardigan, hands wrapped around a chipped ceramic mug. No phone. No book. Just stillness. People passed him. Ordered drinks. And strangely they lingered. They smiled. One even touched his shoulder gently as she left. He didn't say a word. But the room kept noticing him. Arman watched, puzzled. What was it? The man finally caught his gaze and gave the smallest of nods. Not arrogant. Not inviting. Just present. Outside the cafe, rain just lets up. Arman, on impulse, waited until the man left. Something about him made Arman follow, not in a creepy way. In a searching way. Excuse me, Arman said, jogging slightly. I hope this isn't weird, but I saw how people were around you in there. You didn't even say anything. How did you do that? The man Rafiq gave a small smile. Do what? That thing. That energy. People just noticed you. Rafiq chuckled softly, the kind of laugh that didn't seek approval. I wasn't trying to be noticed. That's probably why. Arman blinked. So you're just naturally like that? No, Rafiq said. I used to chase charm. Try to impress everyone. But it's exhausting, isn't it? Arman nodded, the ache still fresh in his chest. Rafiq paused. "You're not afraid of silence," he said gently. "You're afraid of being real." Arman stiffened. I don't know what real even means anymore." Rafiq looked at him, not through him, but into him. "It means you're allowed to speak when you have something to say. And you're allowed to be quiet when you don't." Walking through a park dusk. They walked side by side. Rafiq did not fill the silence. And strangely, Arman didn't feel the need to either. There was no panic. No reaching. In that absence, something strange began to bloom. Not comfortable. Not yet. But possibility. As they part ways, Rafiq says one last thing: silence isn't the enemy. Pretending is. Arman stands alone on the path. For the first time in years. He feels seen, even though he said almost nothing at all. Episode 4, The Voice That Wasn't His. His words belonged to strangers. His silence belonged to him. Arman's childhood home flashback. A younger Arman, around 10 years old, sits at the dinner table. The room is dim, shadows cast by a single overhead light. His father, a stern man with tight lips and cold eyes, speaks in clipped tones. "You think emotions get you anywhere? Silence is power. Speak only when necessary." The words hang heavy, a silent command more than advice. Arman tries to ask about his day, but his father stares past him, dismissing the attempt like it never happened. The boy's shoulders slumped. The message sinks deep: to speak is to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is weakness. Present-day Arman's apartment. Arman sits alone, replaying conversations in his head. He tries to talk with Maya again on the phone, this time without scripts, without rehearsed lines. His voice trembles. The words come out halting, like someone else's. He feels a strange disconnect, as if the voice is borrowed, a hollow echo of what he wishes he could say. Late night Arman at his desk. He stares at himself in a video call window, watching as he speaks. His expression feels forced, his laughter sounds brittle. Who am I, really, he wonders. The voice he hears is not his own. It belongs to every self-help video he's ever watched, every social media tip he's copied. He realizes, his real voice has been muted by years of fear and performance. Flashback: father and son, silent dinner. The scene returns to the tense dinner table. His father's cold silence is a wall. Young Arman looks down, clutching his fork tightly. The silence isn't empty, it's a weapon, a barrier, a lesson taught without words. Present-day Arman's reflection. Arman whispers to his reflection in the mirror, "What if I stopped trying to be liked? What if I just was?" His reflection stares back, uncertain but unblinking. The next day, Arman decides to do something terrifying. He'll try to sit in silence during a real conversation. No scripts. No masks. He doesn't know if anyone will stay. Episode 5, The Silence Test. He sat through the discomfort. And something strange happened. Coffee shop midday. Arman sits across from Lila, a colleague he's chatted with briefly before. Today, he makes a silent promise: no rehearsed lines, no tricks, just presence. The conversation starts with small talk, the usual "how was your weekend?" but when the silence stretches, Arman doesn't jump in. Lila glances at him, surprised, then smiles softly. She leans forward. Interior, coffee shop. Moments later. Arman feels his heart racing. The silence hums like electricity between them. Then Lila says quietly, "You're easy to talk to, her words catch him off guard, piercing through years of his own doubt. Arman smiles, but inside, a tiny voice whispers, "What if they find out I'm still faking this?" To Arman's mind montage. Flashes of past conversations, awkward pauses, forced jokes, silences filled with anxiety swirl in his mind. But this time, the silence feels different. Not empty. Not threatening. It feels real. Coffee shop return to reality. Lila shares a story, and Arman listens, really listens without calculating responses. The warmth of genuine connection settles around him like sunlight breaking through clouds. Arman's apartment night. Alone, Arman reflects. He wonders if being easy to talk to means he's finally stopped chasing the spotlight and just let himself be. But the fear lingers. What if I'm still just pretending, he thinks. Can silence really be enough? Episode 6, when questions became keys. He stopped answering. He started unlocking. Quiet park bench, late afternoon. Arman sits beside his brother, Ryan, a man whose guarded demeanor has always kept them distant. For years, Ryan's walls were impenetrable, conversations were stilted, surface level. Today, Arman tries something different. He stops trying to impress, stops performing, and instead asks genuinely questions. Close up on Arman's face. "Why did you stop coming to family dinners?" he asks softly. Ryan looks away, tension flickering across his eyes. "I felt invisible," Ryan admits quietly. Arman nods, the words unlocking a crack in the wall. Park moments later. They talk not just about family, but fears, regrets, and dreams. Ryan opens up, sharing stories he's never told anyone. Arman listens without judgment or rushing to fix. Internal monologue. Arman. Maybe it wasn't about being interesting or witty. Maybe real connection was about being curious. About unlocking others, not performing for them. Park sunset. As the sun dips, the brothers sit in a comfortable silence. For the first time, Arman feels a connection that isn't built on words alone but on trust. Arman wonders silently, what else have I been missing by trying to be interesting instead of being interested? Episode 7, the night of no masks. He went to a party with nothing prepared. And left with everything he needed. Evening, a bustling house party. Arman arrives late. No rehearsed jokes. No icebreakers. No scripts. His heart pounds, but he carries only one thing, himself. The room hums with laughter, clinking glasses, and chatter. People cluster in groups, some welcoming, some distant. Arman navigates the party. He drifts through the crowd, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes simply observing. No attempts to impress. No forced smiles. Just presence. Arman spots Maya. In a quiet corner, Maya laughs with friends. Their eyes met briefly. A flash of recognition, the memory of their awkward first date lingers. Maya approaches Arman. She smiles warmly, not with judgment, but with a gentle kindness. "I always liked how quiet you were," she says softly. Arman blinks, surprised. The conversation. Without any pretense, they talk. Not about parties or superficial things. But about silence, fear, and what it means to really be heard. Arman realizes for the first time that his silence, his quiet, was never a weakness. Party later. Arman laughs freely for the first time that night. No scripts. No masks. Just genuine. Maya asks, "What changed in you?" Arman looks out the window, the city lights reflecting in his eyes. He doesn't have the full answer yet. but for the first time, he's ready to find it. Episode 8, The Echo of the Past. To move forward, he had to go back to the silence that created him. Arman's childhood home late evening. Arman stands at the front door, hesitating. The house feels smaller than he remembers, heavy with memories. His father opens the door, older, wearier, eyes guarded but not unkind. Inside the living room, the two sit across from each other, silence thick but fragile. Arman's voice is low, trembling slightly. "Why did you go silent every time I needed you?" His father's eyes fill with a sudden, unexpected vulnerability. Flashback, father's youth. A young man, haunted by his own father's coldness, trapped in a cycle of fear and silence. Back to present. His father's voice cracks, "I was scared. Scared of showing weakness, scared of losing control." Tears spill down his cheeks, not just for himself, but for the son he never knew how to reach. Arman's reflection. The weight of years lifts slightly as understanding dawns. This silence wasn't cruelty, it was fear passed down, a prison made of unspoken pain. Father and son. They share a fragile, tentative smile. Not all wounds heal, but some cracks can let light in. Arman walks away with a tearful smile, feeling a freedom he never imagined possible. But in the distance, a phone buzzes with a message, "You're not done yet." Episode 9, The Poet in the Room. He learned to listen like a poet and speak like a mirror. Local cafe mid-morning. Arman sits quietly among a small group gathered for a community discussion. People share stories, hopes, and fears. Arman listens deeply, not waiting to speak, but absorbing every nuance, every breath. Close up on Arman. His eyes soften, a gentle smile playing on his lips. He reflects the emotions he senses in others, a subtle nod here, a quiet question there. He's no longer performing, he's connecting. Stranger approaches. A woman, unfamiliar but warm, leans in after the discussion. "You're the best conversationalist I've ever met," she says. Arman laughs softly, surprised. "I barely try anymore," he admits. Internal reflection. Arman remembers his journey, the silence, the fear, the masks shed one by one. His gift now is simple, presence. Invitation. The woman hands him a flyer. "Would you speak at our next event? People would love to hear you." Arman looks at the flyer, then back at the group. A moment of hesitation. Then a quiet nod. Arman's heart races with a new kind of fear, not of silence, but of stepping into the light on his own terms. Episode 10, The Man Who Didn't Need to Speak. He never ran out of things to say again because he stopped chasing the right words. Community event hall evening. The room buzzes with anticipation. Arman steps onto the modest stage, nerves flickering beneath calm. No notes. No tricks. Just the truth. Arman's talk. He speaks simply about silence, fear, and the power of just being present. His voice is steady, honest. The audience leans in, captivated not by spectacle, but by raw authenticity. Maya in the audience. Among the crowd, Maya watches, smiling gently. Her eyes meet Arman's briefly, not with expectation, but with understanding. Arman's reflection. He realizes he no longer needs approval, no longer chases the right words. The words come not from performance, but from the depths of his journey. Applause swells, but Arman's focus is inward: peace, acceptance, presence. He whispers to himself, "The right thing to say was always inside me. I just had to stop running from silence." As the lights dim, Arman steps down, free not because he mastered conversation, but because he embraced himself.